Alright, what's up everyone? Garrett here. Welcome back to our Django tutorial series. In the last couple videos we talked about what Django was, we installed it, we went through that whole process, and then in the next one we actually went through the settings file in our Django project, set things up, we added some stuff to the project, to the apps, and other stuff like that. So we basically created the foundation of where we need to be in order to actually start going through and building our blog app. In the last video, I said that this video would be us creating the data model that we'd be using in order to actually store all of the user-generated information. However, in thinking about this more, I think it makes sense to actually show you guys just a little bit about what views are and what URLs are, so you guys can just kind of understand, get an idea for what's going on and how you would actually be able to display something in the browser instead of this page right here. Let me find it. So instead of just showing this page right here, I think it'd be cool if we could actually show you guys how to display just, a little message or something to you or to your user or whomever. We're not going to go over everything in the views. Certainly there's a lot of stuff that can go into the views because that's where your logic for what gets displayed to the user goes. Or that's where your logic goes. This is going to be a much quicker video than the other ones will be, but regardless, I think it'll be cool and you'll kind of get more of an idea of what's going on here. So if you remember back to the last, I don't know about the last video or the one before that, but I mentioned that Django follows the MVC approach to development, which is the model view controller. So there's a data model, there's a view, which is what the user sees, and then there's a controller which controls the information that gets passed back and forth between the view and the model. Django follows this, except that it's more like an MVT kind of idea. So the model is basically where all the data goes for the user. The view acts as the controller and the template acts as the view for the user. So I just want to show you guys that right now. Go into your project and open up a few things. Number one is the URLs from the project, the URLs from the post, and then the views from your posts. What we're going to do here actually first inside of our project views is we're going to make this so that the project can see the URL paths of all of our apps. Basically, this URL page or file that's in our project folder is the main URLs for the entire project. So if you want your project to be able to see URL patterns or just pages or views from your apps, you need to connect them in through here by just saying, okay, include this, kind of like a PHP include statement if you're familiar with that at all. And then you'd be able to go into your apps and say, okay, I want you to display this, this, and this for every URL. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So in Django 2, Django 1 was a little bit different, but in Django 2, the first thing that we do is we type in path. We're just gonna add a comma here because there will be more URLs to come later. And then what we're gonna do is quotes, and then we're gonna say where we want this. This is the actual URL path right here. So for us, we're gonna say polls, or just poll, not pool, slash, and then we'll come out of there, we'll say comma, and we'll type in include, which we need to spell correctly, which I clearly can't do, and then in quotes again, polls, because that's what our app is called. Oh no, it's called posts, my bad. And we're also going to change this to say post. Posts dot URLs. That's all we have to do for now. So that's basically will allow us to show URLs and views and stuff like that to the user from the post app. So now we're going to come over to the URL file from our app, and we're going to type in at the top, we're going to say from Django.urls import path. Next, we're going to say from posts. I think we can actually just say post. From posts import views. We're actually going to have these be like that. And then we're going to say URL patterns is equal to, and we're going to have a list. And we're going to say path. And then in here, we're going to have quotes. And we're not going to put anything in these quotes because we don't want there to be like anything, another word after the slash post slash. We just want it to be post. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So we're not going to do anything there. Now we're going to say views.index. And then name is going to be equal to index. And we will add a comma because we're going to be adding more URLs later down the line. So that's actually all we need to do there. in our view, we need to add something up top too. So we're going to say import, or we're going to say from Django.http, and then we're going to import HTTP response. We're going to enter down here. I'm also going to add another one there. Okay, now what we're going to do, and we're going to go into this in much more detail later on, but this is kind of just like a bonus video just to show you guys how to actually display something. But what this is basically going to do is we're going to set up our views here. And the way this works in Django is you can use functions or you can use classes. For right now, we're going to use functions. I will teach you guys how to use classes, although a lot of people I think do prefer to use functions, myself included. So the way this works is you have a function that is named with whatever view, whatever you want to call the view, and then in there you would pass in all of the logic for that view that you want to have. So let me show you how that works. So we're going to say def, or def, index, that's not spelled right, index, that's what it's going to be called, and this is going to be passed in a request, which basically means that when we load the page, we're requesting something, and so that's going to be the request that we're looking for. So inside this, we're going to say return HTTP response, and then in these quotes, we're going to put in whatever we want it to say. You don't have to say the same thing, but I'm going to say our first page. Awesome. And now I believe we can actually go and see this in the browser and see it work. So let's go over to the browser, come up to our URL bar. And if you remember the URL patterns that we had before, I want to show you guys how that works. So we have posts. What is our URL pattern? Just post. I can actually change this. It should not be posts. All right, guys. We have an error. So let's go and take a look. Basically the error, and when you guys have errors, what you'll do is you'll come over to your terminal, your command line, and it'll actually read out to you exactly what the error is, as well as give you a trace back for where the error is coming from. So in this particular instance, it says name error, name include is not defined. And it tells you right above, right here in this line, it says where the file is. So this is our URLs for our blog project, line 21. Okay. Let's go and take a look at line 21. So we come over here and we see that this line is giving us the problem. And you think to yourself, well, what's going on here? Because I do say include there, right? So what's the issue? Well, here's the issue. These things right here, where I was typing this from Django.something, import something, and I did this over here too in this URLs as well as in the views file. What's going on here is that these from Django.whatever, import, insert whatever here, that's basically telling Django to go and import certain resources so that it knows what to do with some of the code that you've written. Because you can't have all of Django's code, resource code, in one file. And it's the same across all coding languages. For example, in PHP, oftentimes you might have that when you're writing, you might say include and then a certain file. This is the same thing. Since Django's a framework, you have to import things all the time just to be able to use those resources. So what we're going to do is, if you see this line right here, it says from Django.urls import path. We need to add something to this, include. And now, if you look here, we have no more error because this thing came up. Whenever this block of text comes up in your command line, that means you're good to go. So we come over here and we see that we get this page not found thing. Don't worry about that right now. So make sure that you've now typed in /post, right, after like what we were trying to do before. And now if we reload this page, we see that it now works. Our first page works perfectly just like how we wanted it to. This was a very basic video on how URLs and views work. In the next video, we're going to be going over actually creating the data model that we'll use to store all of the user data. And don't worry, I know that we explained how views and URLs work, but there's still a lot more to go over in regards to those two subjects. So in a later video, once we are finished with the data model and we're able to start thinking about how exactly we want our page and our content to be used and displayed and whatnot, then we'll go over those in more detail, like much more detail. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, definitely subscribe. And if you're interested, I did create a social network called EVVEREST. It's a place for designers and developers to come, connect, share what they're doing, and learn from each other and ask questions and all that great stuff. So link down below in the description. Make sure to go sign up for EVVEREST. Say hello, post something, ask a question. We're all waiting over there, and we would love to have you join the community. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.